Okay. Let's see. Okay, it's 8 o'clock my side now. Yeah, shall I start with a word of prayer? Okay, awesome. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this opportunity. We thank you for technology that I can be in New Zealand, Kenneth is in Singapore, and we can connect like this and have a blast, have a chat, and just bring glory to your name. You know, even as we share about business, you love business as well. And we know that you have something in store for us. We pray for seeds to be sown, seeds that will lead to people taking small steps. But those small steps can lead to big changes in their life, in their business, in their relationships, in their health, in their fitness, whatever. So we bless in the name of Jesus, and we bless this time together. I pray for all the tech that it will go smoothly. Pray for the connections and everything to go well. And we just thank you for this wonderful opportunity. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much once again, Kenneth. It's so exciting to have you here. But really, it's an honor. I know you are a busy person. You have so many responsibilities. For those of you who do not, Kenneth, we served together on the board for a while, right? While I was back in Singapore, I think for maybe 1 or 2 years, we were on the board together at the same time at West Assembly of God Church. And Kenneth is still on the board right now, whereas I'm not. Singapore anymore, but it's good. It's great. I actually still keep very close steps with what is going on in Grace Assembly, and I do keep tabs on. I mean, it's my home church. At the end of the day, it's where I grew up, so there's always that affinity. So very good. Yeah, Kenneth, again, thank you so much for your time with us. I can introduce Kenneth a little bit. You know, I've mentioned he's a very high level international speaker. He's spoken to so many companies. I think have you lost count?
After a while, yes.
After a while. So I'm going to let Kenneth introduce a little bit about himself, what he does, the kind of companies he's been talking to. And yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Kenneth?
Okay, so basically I'm a global leadership speaker. So I speak on mindset change and how do you create solutions-focused organizations. And personally, I've been to 18 different countries to deliver keynotes in conferences. So basically, I'm a conference speaker. And at the same time, I've run a lot of strategic planning workshops, retreats with clients, and run a lot of leadership training programs as well. So I serve global clients. And at the same time, do some consultancy work with the government of Singapore. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I caught one very important phrase at the beginning of your introduction: solutions focus.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. You know, I always, at the end of, I love investing. At the end of the day, right? Businesses are here to solve a problem. They're here to not create the problem. They're here to bring the solution. Right? I mean, if they're here to create more problems, we don't need them. But if they bring a solution that we all need, that's when they thrive, and that's when the company does well, and that's when we can, as consumers, as investors, as shareholders, we all benefit from the value they bring through the solutions that they create. So I love that word, solutions focus. How did you get into what you are doing?
Okay, actually, I started off from very humble beginnings, really, really humble.
Okay. Yeah, too humble.
I worked as an engineer when I first started off for a couple of years and hit my midlife crisis at 28 years old.
Okay, wow, that's early.
This magic question that I believe all adults ask themselves, what do I want to do in my life? It's a very simple question, but it's a haunting question, So for many years, I've just, this desire that stirs within the heart, I could do engineering, but I knew that it's not what I would love to do for the rest of my life, So I asked God, what does He want me to do, and I realized that probably it's in the area of teaching, inspiring people, working with people, as long as people are helping them to be better in very specific fields. I think that's what that's what I thought I would love. So interestingly, I thought there were three jobs that I wanted to do. Number one was to be a teacher. 10 weeks of training, trying it out, and I realized, wow, it's a very different thing. Second thing was to be a church worker, youth worker, to really give and work. I love it, but I think there was the third area that I was a lot more interested in. Also, it's basically in the business world, the marketplace, to share ideas, to teach people, and to be able to make an impact in that world.
Right. So how did you then go from being engineer, thinking about teaching? They're sort of related in a sense to what you're doing now, teaching, and being a church worker, that's about impact, to now being an international strategies and consultant for MNCs and even the government of Singapore.
Yeah. So I would like to believe that God is an economical God. That means whatever He has done in the past will set you up for the next step.
Amen.
In life. So so I realized that I got saved and I knew Christ through Youth for Christ, in my teenager years. So I became really active. I was really being discipled. And from a very young age, I was taught how to give Bible study, to teach people, to influence people. And I was always running projects, a lot of projects projects. That means we will run a lot of evangelistic outreach programs. So I'll be the one that's emceeing them, so I know how to stir a crowd, work it out, and then of course get them to have fun together. And little did I know that these were the very skills that I needed to succeed on stage. So when I started to transit, asking myself, what do I really want to do? What could I do also as well? What has God given me certain abilities that I could do a lot better than most people? And I realized that I could run programs easily. So I started a company called Deep Impact. Many years ago. It's 2007. We incorporated in February. Wow, it's many years. And we started doing team building programs. It was very simple. Team building programs. Hi, Joshua. Welcome back.
Yeah, so sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Are we still live? I think we are. Let me just.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so everyone for the break. I think the connection in my house has not been that great. I changed internet service provider sort of last week, and okay, we are back now. Okay, yes. Sorry, I lost you at YFC, and then
okay,
yes, right. Team building.
Yeah. So we when at a very young age, I wanted to start a company to run programs that will shift mindsets. I mean, there were many companies out there doing team building programs because it's quite a low entry barrier kind of business. But I was very specific, things on mindset change, how to get people to be proactive and to be purposeful in their speech, thoughts, and actions. And amazingly, that very single focus, just be good at just one thing, not many things, just one simple thing. And after a while, we were winning very, big contracts. Yeah, they were winning like government contracts as well, one after another. And we solidified a very good position just doing team building programs, but mindset change style programs. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I hope you guys caught that, just in that short description of how Kenneth started. I think there was so much goal. Like, for example, that one thing, focusing on that one thing. I think, Kenneth, you rightly pointed out, there is a sort of low barriers to entry kind of marketplace. It's very competitive. There are so many team building professionals out there. Whatever business that if you are watching this, whatever business you are doing, if you look, you may think that, oh man, there's so many other competitors, but focus on, I love the way you said mindset. You just in the mindset you bring, plus you've decided to focus on mindset change. What was the one thing you could bring? And that was mindset change. So, as you're watching, as you're listening, I don't know what you'll do as your business or your career, but even you have an employee, I think there can be that one thing that you really focus on, where you bring a growth mindset to it, and just focus on that one thing, just for that 1 year, just focus on that one thing and see where you get to. I love that. I really love that. So I thought I wanted to just remind our viewers that, look, you pay attention to what you just said. That was so much gold. Thank you so much, Kenneth, for bringing that. Yeah. So, I also mentioned that you started in February 2007, and who knows, right after that, 08, 09, great financial crisis. You started at the
exactly. Yeah.
How was that like? I mean, like you went from presumably like you had a full-time job, stable, income.
Yeah.
You started a business, maybe it started well, and then boom, straight away financial crisis. This is one of those things that companies will cut first thing,
Exactly. And you are totally right. The first few budgets that company cut is actually training and hiring of new staff, right? Headcount. So they just cut. So I remember one of our biggest clients at the time, Philips Electronics. They worked with us through many programs. We're like, we just needed to do one program, and after that, they started asking, "Can you do for my other departments?" So we started, running for many different groups, and we were really successful in it. And until one day when I had a phone call from the training managers, he said, "Kenneth, we need to freeze our training programs," and she used the word indefinitely.
Oh my goodness!
And I didn't understand what is indefinitely at that time. So I asked her, how long is indefinite? And I found out it was 1.5 years. So imagine big clients not spending money with you, you panic, and yeah.
So how did you get through that?
Yeah. So that's a fantastic question. So in solution focus, we start looking for a lot of key ideas. Like rather than talk about the economy and how bad it is, which there were a lot of government conferences that talked about it. I refuse to go to any one of them because it's not that it was not useful, because I just felt that why go to a program that tells you how bad the economy is? I mean, you already know that, right? I just want to know what are the opportunities. What can we do, rather than someone just telling me times are bad, you just need to hold it. And so in this period of time, I also started to focus on what we call a preferred future. What's something that we want out of this situation? What's better? Suppose if things were working for suppose, what's better? What's different about our delivery, in the way we communicate to clients, and in the way we serve our clients best in this period of time? Yeah. So and interestingly, because there were so many companies that didn't spend money, but after asking myself and really praying and asking God, who is going to spend money? We found there's one client that was willing to spend money. Just one. And guess which one is that?
Government of Singapore.
All right, it's the government. And you must understand, the government had to spend money, because if they don't spend money to spur the economy, when there's no economy, there's basically no government. There'll be anarchy, right?
Yes.
And we all know that in order for people to get out of the whole bad business environment is to get people to spend. But people are scared of spending because they are losing their jobs. And they lose their jobs, they don't spend. And what will happen if they don't spend? Companies will fire more people. It's a vicious spiral, right? So when we realized that when we realized that only the government was spending, then I started thinking, how can we run programs to help people be more resilient, to focus on possibilities rather than negativity and what's holding them back. And programs actually earn us quite a lot of money. Interesting. So in the heart of the recession, we earn the most money during February and March. Right in the heart. And I always talk to my government guys, and a lot of them will laugh when they hear that. You know why? During February and March, because that's exactly when the government financial year will end. So,
awesome.
They had to spend money. So I felt it was my job to help them spend money wisely.
Okay, yes, you're right.
Useful, and yet at the same time shift the people's mindset, and yet at the same time find something sustainable for our business.
Yes. I love how you mentioned during your reply just now, no point hearing more bad news, right? So, you mentioned no point hearing bad news. Instead, you look for what are the solutions and opportunities that might be out there. Yeah, I really love that. So yeah, that was really good. And I assume that, I hope that, we are sort of living through that again, in a sense. the economy has been hit very badly. A lot of businesses, especially in the hospitality trade, in the travel trade, they have been hit quite badly. Interestingly, I was in a Father Heart conference just 2 weeks ago. There's this guy who's, we still have travel agencies here in New Zealand, and no travel, zero. Literally, it goes to zero, his business. So he's now selling cupcakes. But at least he didn't just give up and, just cry father, cry mother or whatever. But he did something about it. He looked for, okay, what can I pivot to? Even for now, for the time being, what are the solutions that the market still needs? What can we do, and then go from there. So yeah.
Exactly. I would like to add to that, so right now, when our business was hit in February last year, of course, the early signs of COVID started to move towards Asia and then towards the rest of the world as well. And during that period of time, of course, a lot of different economies started to go into lockdown, in March. And during March, I can tell you a lot of training companies were very free all of a sudden because there's nothing for us to do. And even if we were optimistic, optimism doesn't bring us very far. Because the companies were not spending, so how do we get them to spend? What was useful? And a lot of them were just saying, this is not what we want to focus on right now. In fact, we just want to help our people to transit into working remotely, because a lot of them were still trying to grapple with the law. Every week, I remember every 2 weeks or every week, clients will come up with different, strategic things that they wanted to do with their employees, but only to find out that, the government regulation just changed and they had to adapt very quickly. So every 2 weeks, there were a lot of new changes and a lot of companies were not spending money. So during that period of time, I was just talking to my wife, and we were just sharing that how we wish pastors could preach better in the online world.
Okay,
Preaching in the online world is very different from in the offline world. There are a lot of things and technologies we could use to engage people. But in the offline world, there are ways you can look at them, you can sense your audience, right? As a keynote speaker, I know what it means to speak in front of 2,000 over people. I can handle very big crowds. But when you are in the online world, all of a sudden you're just speaking to a screen, and you don't even know whether they are paying attention half the time. There's no physical response. How could you preach or teach differently? So interesting, during that period of time, we started to ask ourselves, what can we do, instead of just whining? What can we do to just help a few of the pastor friends that we know, and probably pastors of my church? And that's where we thought, okay, we'll just create this program, how to create engaging learning experiences, online. So we wanted to invite just 30 of our friends that we knew. We created an Eventbrite, online program. So they register, and we told everybody about it. We started sending out the links, and to our surprise, immediately the next day, we had 200 signups.
Wow.
So it burst, it was a lot of people just couldn't sign up. And then they were like emailing us, why is there, why I can't sign up? So we were so surprised. And we thought, okay, why not we raise it up from day one, in day two, we raised it up to 400. And we hit 400 the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. And after a while, we put it up to 800. We got it the next day, then 1,006, then 3,000, as much as 6,000 people signed up.
Wow,
for the program.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. It was crazy. Yeah, and we were very specific. We knew we could do this because this was something that we've already been doing before COVID, and we could do it quite well, and we could engage the audiences. And we gave it up for free. We just give it up as long as you're a minister, full-time minister, pastor, a person involved in Christian ministry, or even a lay leader teaching Sunday school or leading a cell group. Just come, And the funny thing was, a lot of people were like just asking, who are you? We've not heard of you before. Why you? And I had to make presentations to groups of churches, sharing my intent and sharing that, I don't need to charge you money. This is something that I strongly believe. I always believe in equipping ministers because they have the strongest leverage, right? They can impact more people. And And interesting, we had 4,100 people
Wow.
showing up and turning up in 18 different countries, and we had a blast of a time, you know. So running sessions, it was beautiful. Imagine Zoom sessions of 420 people per session.
Wow.
Yeah, and,
Wow. Praise the
and the
Lord.
best
Praise the
part
Lord.
is we started to commercialize it.
Okay.
We used the same program and run it for trainers, in-house trainers of organizations, leaders who needed to engage their staff because they just realized that they're not doing a fantastic job in it. And for even educators as well, who had to struggle to teach online, and they realized that a lot of kids were not paying attention to them. And so it opened up. So I strongly believe that if we honor God, God will just honor us. You know,
Amen.
And interestingly,
Amen.
some of the people that attended our program, they were like Sunday school teachers, but they were also corporate executives in their own companies. And they started saying, hey, can you come to my company, teach and work with my people? You know, and we realized that, wow, you know, it was never our target market pastors. You know, I just want to stress, it's just a group that we had a very big heart of to add value and to share, but then God opened up many doors, and that's where we pivoted as well, you know, I guess to area, and that was sustainable.
Oh, praise the Lord. I noticed something as well. The similarity between what you've just done and how you started. The word specific. Again, it's about that one thing. It's about that focus. It's about that what do people need at this point? So what is that one specific thing? And in this case, it was how do you deliver and create an engaging audience online? Like you rightly pointed out, you know, as you were saying that, I was looking, okay, how many people actually online listening to us, two of us talking? Are we just two of us talking without anyone? Or, okay, there are about 20 over people. So that's good. And I don't know, you know, after this, because it will be recorded, and subsequently a few people did text me and say, hey, I can't watch online. I said, okay, don't worry, it's recorded. You can just log on later. But obviously they don't have the privilege of asking you questions. So yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, maybe after this, what I'll ask you to do is send me the link so that, you know, if whoever is interested, they would like to buy that program you're talking about, you know, they can go there and get some training if they're interested. Very good.
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. So okay, talking about small steps to big changes, could you introduce us a little bit about your book that you have written? How do you sort of, you know, how does it work into your life, your career? How do companies implement some of these theories and strategies you devise?
Okay, thank you very much for asking. So I'm the author of this book called Small Steps to Big Changes. It's actually a physical book. Yeah, I gotta show this, you know, because right now there's too many ebooks around.
yes.
And I'll be very blessed that this book is used in many global companies. It's as part of their training programs, and even I run my own program with the Singapore government. I lecture in the Civil Service College, you know, on the ideas from this book as well. So what is small steps to big changes? It's actually a very contrarian view. So I use a lot of I like to take what we call polarity positioning. That means polarity, you know, just imagine a magnet. There's always the North Pole and the South Pole. And you only attract one group of people and you will repel the others, right? You know, so there's always a disparity. You will never have both sides. You know, there's always one group. And my job is to, whatever companies or organizations, whatever they're talking about, I'll just look at it, I'll think, what's missing? What's something that they have not covered that's really, really important? And can I run a program that just covers that gap? So let me case in point. So there's this, we run a lot of leadership training programs, and I can tell you there are like hundreds and hundreds of training programs out there, leadership training programs. And the question is, why you, right? You know, why me and why not the rest?
Yes.
That's what a lot of people ask. And when we pitch with global clients, they'll be like looking, okay, who are you? What's your track record and why you? So, and this is what I would say, you know, if we take the polarity positioning, this is what everybody else is doing. That's great. You know, if you think about it, what makes a good leader? And most training programs cover like influence, vision, you know, vision casting, and probably coaching. So these are fantastic skills of a leader. But end of the day, the funny thing is most companies, you know, if you think about it, they don't actually use that as the benchmark of a good leader. They don't. Yeah, although these are traits, right? Then the question is, what do they actually benchmark their leader against? End of the day, most of them benchmark their leaders against delivery of results. End of the day. I mean, you could influence people. Maybe you could talk about your values a lot more, definitely. But most of them are, end of the day, do you deliver on your goals? So there's no program on successful execution. Very little programs on successful execution. And helping to co-create a future with people, with your team members, create a possibility that, hey, this is the goal, the direction you want to move them quickly towards this direction without much problem talk. So this is what small steps to big changes is all about. You know, we focus on, so sometimes, so I'll try to take some common ideas that a lot of people think that is right, but I have a different view on it. For example, we make statements like, if the dream ain't big enough, you know, it's not worth doing. You probably have heard some motivational speakers say something like that, you know. While that is exciting, the problem is it only excites probably the top 2% of the population who are goal-getters. The rest of the 98%, they just, exciting, then that's it, you know. That's it. They are even struggling with their first win or even consistent wins, right? You know, so a lot of times it's not just dreaming big, but I'm not against dreaming big. But I think dreaming big comes with very specific small steps. It's all about small steps. Because what we notice is when people win small, they want to win more. That's highly motivational. Winning is very motivational. You do not need to motivate someone who is winning. So a lot of times you think that, you know, give motivation talks, it will change their life. No, why not focus on consistent small wins? And that, if you think about it, you know, that actually spreads across, even for personal things like, you know, like I want to lose weight, you know, for people who want to lose weight, exercise more, or even eat correctly. The reason why, and probably you might have known people, maybe not you, definitely not you and not the people here.
Definitely not you, but definitely me.
Other people, you know, other people who say that they want to change their life, they want to do this and do that, set New Year's resolutions, and then after two weeks or 2 months, you know, nothing very much happens. Or they start off for a little bit. I want to suggest something. It's not that the desire wasn't strong. There was the desire, but because the change was too big, it was too massive, not sustainable. And you know, you have to change your diet all of a sudden, you have to eat this, do so much more exercise that you're normally used to. After a while, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Why do that? Why sabotage yourself, right? So what we've noticed is when people start very small and they win small, the whole idea is to level up. What's the next level, and the next level? This is very sustainable and it's very easy to do as well. Because winning is easy, you know, make small steps is easy to take, is easily identifiable as well. You know what needs to be done. And of course, when you win small, then you just keep going up the scale. Yeah.
Well, I love that. There was one thing you said, I was trying to seriously copy down. Start small, win small. You know, because winners don't need to be motivated because they have that momentum and it just keep going and going and going. And you know, that's how when I talk to people about money management as well, firstly, you have to start by being able to manage your own personal finances. You need to start at the level where you can even create a surplus. That starts with, making sure that you spend less than you earn. Now, sometimes even that statement might be too big for some people. Doesn't matter. Make it smaller. Make it to the smallest sort of step that you can take, that it becomes a no-brainer. You can just step across. That is, exactly. I think you mentioned that in I remember that in one of your illustrations in your presentation. Could you share with us that particular...
the illustration, is it? Okay, the story. Yeah. So you know, I get to speak in a lot of keynotes. So I'll just share with you something. Okay. Let me just bring it up. Okay. So imagine right now, you know, how many of you have seen dog training before? Dog training. You know, how would you train a dog to jump through this loop? 5 feet through this hoop, you know, 5 feet up. How will you train a dog? So most people, of course, you know, I will ask my audience and they'll come up with a lot of interesting ideas, you know, feed the dog, or throw the dog across, or even the trainer jump across, you know. So, okay, many different ways. But I want to share with you something interesting. The trainer, first of all, doesn't teach the dog to even jump. That's the interesting thing. They first get the dog to be accustomed to the hoop. Just be familiar with the hoop. They put the hoop on the ground level and just let the dog go through in and out, go around it. And even if it refuses to go through it, they'll put biscuits along the way so he can eat his way through. It's a success. So they really set very low bar, low hanging bar. And then after a while, he just raises it half a feet high. And it's no challenge to the dog. After that, the dog goes through, they praise the dog, feed the dog. Well done, good doggy, pet the dog again. And then this will keep going on and on. After a while, at 1 feet. 1 feet, there's no challenge as well. The challenge only comes when it slowly raises to 2 feet. And at 2 feet, the dog realizes he needs to lift his legs a lot more, And at 3 feet, the dog realizes that he needs to jump through a lot higher than normal. And after a while, slowly conditioning the dog. And at 4 feet, the dog realizes that he needs to stand further behind and run and jump through. And at 5 feet, he needs a very long distance. They run and they'll just jump through. At every step of the way, the trainer's job is to condition the dog to succeed. Through a series of small, consistent wins. And after a while, the dog believes in itself, it can do it. And if the dog fails at any point of time, the trainer just simply lowers the bar a little bit more just to get the dog to regain its self-confidence before going up slowly. I know human training and dog training is totally different. But there's a significant truth behind this, that we need to set ourselves up for success. And a lot of times we have forgotten that, as adults, we want, when we hire new staff, we want them to jump at 5 feet already. We have no time to train, they must hit the ground running. You probably hear a lot of organizations say that, but sometimes they don't. But why set them up for failure, right? Set them up for success. And when they win more, they want to win more, right? Think about it,
win small, win more. Very good. I also like what you said about how, as leaders, as managers, you are listening, you may be managing a team or even managing your family, you're a leader or managing yourself. Set yourself for success by creating the conditions that will set your people up for success. That small steps, the small wins. Wow, that's brilliant. I think that is worth spending that time listening. And I love that. And I love the illustration. That was really cool. The dog trick. Yeah, very good. We've been talking a lot about the positive things, the wins. What are some of the sort of problems or obstacles or failures or challenges that you may have faced, and how you overcome them? We already talked about COVID and all that. Like, what are the other failures or obstacles that you?
I mean, like any other business people, business is always fraught with failures. The whole idea is that just don't be killed by any one of them.
That's goal. That's so good. You have failures, but don't be killed by it.
The whole idea is to survive through, right? And so and there are many fair shares of failures. We didn't message certain programs correctly. We focus on sometimes a lot of problem talk as well. When I first started, I didn't know how to speak differently. But after a while, being trained in the solutions-focused approach, it started to shape my thought processes to focus on a preferred future that I always wanted to talk about. But while that makes sense, I want to share with you, it's not so obvious, because a lot of times in life, we do the exact opposite. We talk about failure more than success. I want to show you. For example, when I work with my corporate clients, there was one large security company in Singapore, one of the top 2 largest. Okay, their staff strength is huge. We'll not say which company is that. Okay.
The only one or 2.
only 2 big ones in Singapore. But one of the 2 of them. So and they did a lot of projects. And every time when you finish a project, there's always an after action review, or what we call AAR. Right? AR, it's a very famous term that we use.
SAF.
Or sometimes people use the word post-mortem, like someone died. And they want to find out the cause. So imagine you have 1 hour for evaluation session. there were 10 things that were done correctly and 2 things that didn't turn out so well. Where do you think most of the time people will spend, the conversation on? The 10 things that turn out well or the 2 things that fail? Where do you think they spend the 1 hour on?
The failure, man.
Definitely, right? It's always about the failure, right? Yeah, but when you talk more about the failure, you just talk about what didn't work. That's what didn't work. It doesn't tell you what will work, It just tell you don't do this, don't do that. How I wish doesn't mean that it will work. It just means a different path only. But you're not sure. You're still not sure. So in conversations like this, and a lot of companies that we work with, they always talk about failures. So why spend a time talking about failure? Why not spend more time talking about what creates success or what has worked previously that we need to duplicate, systemize it across the organization so that one group that does it well can replicate the exact thing. So sometimes companies are so big that one group does a correct job or well job. The rest just don't know, Of course, there's knowledge management systems. There's a lot of knowledge sharing. But I can tell you a lot of times, they don't do a very good job in getting people updated, learning, sharing about success. And we keep talking about what creates success. It's actually creating a very motivational environment because people want to know about how can I be a better winner rather than how can I avoid loss.
Yes.
So there's a big difference, in doing things, and the conversation, the quality of conversations become different. So this is what I realized that has worked very well for me, is to hold conversations like this. What's working well, what could work as well. And of course, another thing which I think will be useful, and I shared this in my book. Of course, this step-by-step thing, that is the principle, but how do you actually hold a conversation? How do you do it in a systematic manner? So we teach people a scaling process. So the scaling process can be on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are you on this particular issue? 10 means you're fantastic, absolutely rocking it, and 1 is the exact opposite. So it doesn't matter what number they say, interestingly. Even if you say a low number like a 2, okay, I will just focus on, okay, what do you do so far to bring you to a 2? What do you do so well to bring you up to a level 2? Because people look at, I got 8 more steps to go, right?
Yeah.
But I want to help them see that, hey, they've done certain things well to move them to where they are. There's probably some different strategies to keep moving them forward. Second thing is we start focusing on what's the preferred future? Where do you want to be instead of a 2? And they'll say, I want to be at an 8, 9, or 10. Then what does 8, 9, 10 look like? What does it look like in terms of specific stakeholders in your point of view? How will you be doing things differently? And that's where they start describing the behaviors. And what we notice is vivid descriptions of their preferred future actually use more positive behaviors. People become clearer in what they need to do differently when they start talking about this future in a very clear sense. And after that, we just focus the conversation on, okay, so now you're at the 2. What's working well for you so far? And what do you need to do to move up to a level 3 right now? Just only to a level 3 for the next 1 month. If you could just focus our efforts to move 1 level up to a level 3, what do you need to do? And that's exactly how we move our business, and we became really good in our business and won the attention of a lot of clients. We started focusing on what's our marketing on a scale of 1 to 10. Where's our marketing efforts? On a scale of 1 to 10, how are we creating fantastic client experiences? And where are we? Even though it's a low number, it's fine. What do we need to do right now to move 1 level up? And it's actually easier. It's an easier conversation rather than you have very heavy conversations around why are we not doing things. Rather than focus on why are we not doing it, but we focus on what do we need to do right now to just move 1 level up.
Oh, I love that. I think it's also very consistent with what you have just been sharing with us about the small steps, the small wins. You don't have to go from 2 to level 8. Just go from level 2 to level 3 or level 5 to level 6, whatever that is, or even 5 to 5.5. At least you are moving forward. You are better tomorrow than you are today, even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And when people think too big, it paralyzes them, right? This joke that we use sometimes that they analyze until they get paralyzed.
Yes.
So sometimes thinking too much, so if you realize that there are people who regularly face this, then maybe the question will be, okay, that sounds like a great idea, but what would be a smaller step that we could just focus on right now to get you your first few wins? Yeah, and that will be an easier conversation. What is safe for now? What is something that you feel that you can do easily, that you feel can just move the needle forward?
Just now you mentioned something about how some companies, when they do the AAR or the post-mortem or whatever, the feedback session or whatever, and they tend to focus on the problems. Now, my question is, if the companies tend to focus more on what they've done well, in your experience, have you found that over time, because they focus, let's say if they focus on what's been doing well, and they do more and more of those things they're doing well, naturally, the things that they were not doing well sort of disappears? Is that a thing? Like,
That's right. They do.
Okay.
Interestingly, okay, so when you talk about, let's say, fixing a problem, when you go into diagnostic questions like the typical what happened, ask the 5 whys, five W's.
Yeah.
5 W's, right? You get diagnostic, it just tells you what didn't work, but it doesn't tell you what will work. Sometimes, because unless it's a very simple, process issue, but right now a lot of things are complex. They're complex. It's no longer one single point of failure. It could be many different points of failure. It could be many reasons. It could be none of the reasons. Rather than focus on creating a perspective that, maybe you're like this, maybe you're like that. Why not just focus on what could we just do to just move it one level up? That will be a more interesting conversation, right? And I want to share with you, being solution focused doesn't mean that we don't talk about problems, because most of the time we want to talk about is how to improve certain things, right? But it's our approach that is different. We do not go diagnostic. We just focus on a preferred reality, focus on what works. And so sometimes the problem is this level. You want to achieve certain things, but you actually want something more than this level. You want something better than this level. Like, that's where your preferred future or your best future is actually at a higher level. So you realize that if you move towards this, certain problems will eventually disappear, because you realize that you could do certain things, and we can actually solve problems without talking in depth about problems. That's the uniqueness of the conversation, and that's where I think it sets us apart from competition as well, because a lot of them tend to go diagnostic. They can't solve anything. And I was a previous engineer, so I know what exactly I'm talking about. If we don't have a problem statement, we can't solve anything,
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Don't go diagnostic. And focus on the preferred future. Actually, what you've just shared, right, is very in line with our Christian faith. You know how, in the Garden of Eden, there's a tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you always focus on like trying to like, what is right, what is wrong, what is right, what is wrong, then, there's no life. You're supposed to eat from the tree of life. And then there's so many instances where in the Bible, say in the Old Testament, where God showed Abraham that look to the stars. He was giving him a preferred future. This is what your future is. That's what your descendants are going to be like, even though you only got one son at the moment. But your future is supposed to be all these stars and the sands on the seashore. You're going to become that nation is within you, even though you cannot see it right now. I think when God showed Abraham, he didn't even have Isaac yet.
No.
Right? So yeah, okay, that one actually quite a big it's quite a big step if you ask me. But and it took a while. But the point I was trying to make is that yes, let's look to the future that God has for us. Let's look for the good that God has for us. Let's look to the Christ in us, the hope of glory. That's where we can really thrive. Wow, there's so much gold in there. I was trying to take notes at the same time and listen to you. And let me just quickly take a look and see whether we have any questions in the comments. I don't seem to be seeing any questions. Okay, guys, if you're watching, feel free to share the video. If you have any questions for Kenneth, please pop it into the comments on the page while we are talking. I'll look back later to see what else there is. Okay, Kenneth, I have this, I know my passion is in the area of money, finance, investing. do you have any, from your personal experience, any thoughts or views on money, or on financial freedom, or whatever,
Yes. Okay. So when it comes to this area, I must admit, Joshua, that I am really not extremely well versed. I'm just very focused on the business side of things. But I think there are a lot of practical applications also, when we take small steps. I think one of the things that helped me a lot, sometimes there's a lot of fear in investing because a lot of people will tell you a lot of reasons why, things can go wrong. And sometimes it cripples a person who is new. I remember when I started investing. So the whole idea, maybe what we could do for ourselves is to really start very small. Take a small step, what do you need to do right now to create the first small win? If you have not started anything, why not just open an account?
Yes.
Open an account and tell people, yes, I've opened my account after a while, and I put in some money, great. Yes. Okay, so then of course the next question will be, how can you start holding conversations with people who have invested their money, just invested in different forms, and are there safe ways of investing? So of course, we all know it depends on your risk appetite, but start small, and the whole idea is, why not put it in some certain funds that you feel that you can just put and forget. Let's start with that. Yes. And after a while, when you're more confident, you can move to different types of investment. You want to be more aggressive with your investments. Everybody, I think every master was once a disaster. But it just didn't kill them. But they started from somewhere, and I think maybe borrowing from my sons, they play games, they know what it means to level up. Yes. And I think we need to be very patient with ourselves, because when it comes to investing, I think I need to level up as well. I need to just focus on what do I need to do to just move to the next level. I feel comfortable. I feel this is the direction that is moving on, rather than just standing still. Yeah. So the whole idea is just to focus on the next small win. What will help me right now to move? And just ask that very simple question. And then, importantly, after 1 month later or 2-3 months, reflect back and ask yourself, how have I changed after 2-3 months? And that's important, because this will tell you how much you've, slightly changed. The whole idea is to look for small changes. Small changes, not big changes, because big changes, everybody is looking out for it. They don't notice the very small changes. Like, you learn a few more things. You realize that you're not so panicky when it comes to certain decisions right now. You realize that, hey, after listening to Joshua a lot more, I just feel very confident. And so these are all the small steps that we need to take. So the whole idea is to set yourself up for success. And if you fail, it's fine. Let's take it back 1 level, 2 levels down, and then what needs to happen right now to just make yourself a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more careful, so that you can advance to the next level.
Okay, very good. Okay, we have a question from Mark. Mark Zhou, he says, how can we deal with failure with a positive mindset? I.e., how do you view them as obstacles to climb rather than as barriers?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when it comes to things that happen, I think the framing of what we want to do is really important. So you can keep slapping yourself, after a while, I don't find it useful all the time, because it can just create a sense of fear or inability to keep moving forward. So I think if it's going to be lost, then it's already lost. So we just have to learn to accept the loss, but start asking questions that will help us move forward. Like, what's a preferred future that I want rather than this? It's a very simple question. What do I want other than this? There must be something else that I wanted differently, right? What's different about it? What's better? How should I be acting differently in that new situation? And what kind of mindsets must I develop? And of course, what's a small step towards this direction? And when you start asking yourselves in this systematic manner, you realize, actually, it's quite doable.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very doable. And the best part is, it takes very big, complicated stuff that we are fearful of, and then by focusing on small steps, it becomes very manageable.
Yeah, I love how that is consistently coming back. Take the small step, get the small win, and let it roll. You know, it's a bit like the snowball effect, you know, it just snowball. And actually snowball effect reminds me of Warren Buffett. He obviously he's not a disaster, you know, he's he's the worst, probably the worst best investor. But you know, it's funny how Berkshire Hathaway, this investment vehicle that he has, was actually a disaster, you know, in the sense that he actually made a wrong investment by buying a failing, I don't know what they used to make, it's some kind of manufacturing company, didn't do quite well. But you know, from that, he learned something, you know, he learned how to change his investment strategy, and he, you know, the rest is history now, you know. I mean, he still continues to make mistakes. In fact, for those of you who are interested, he just published his annual letter over the weekend. You can go and read. He talked about how he bought a company called Precision Cast Parts, and he overpaid. He talked about it openly, you know, even though we still make mistakes. But, yeah, you know, important thing is we learn from the mistakes, and we set ourselves up for the next win by, you know, okay, review, what are the small steps we can do now to make the next win.
Yeah, and I could remember there was a period of time just around the last year where he shared that, you know, he wanted to liquidate all his airline stocks, you know, because
which he did.
It was a good investment. Yeah, and I mean, even the experts make mistakes, right? But the whole idea is how quickly we rebound. And that's why by framing the question, what do we want instead of this? There must be something different. I think we always want things to be better, right? So what will be better? What's different about the future? And these questions are actually very solutions focused. It just helps you move away from the frustration, you know, and just focus on what you really want. You know? So yeah. What do you really want?
Okay, talking about that, right? Improving ourselves and all that. What are some of the sort of best resources you have come across that have helped you personally along the way?
Okay, I want to share maybe one good resource is this.
Definitely.
I think that would be useful.
Yeah.
So I type in a chat, you know, small steps to big changes. Yeah, it's really small steps to big changes. That's one. So for me, we use the solutions focused approach. So if you go online, you will find a lot of it. You know, there are resources online on it where it talks about. It started off from the therapy world, but then in the 1980s, but over time, 1990s, a lot of people from the consulting world, coaching, training, they were excited about it because it was able to produce results really, really fast. Yeah, without going too much into problem talk, which is sometimes very frustrating, becomes a blame game or a witch hunt at times. You know, so that has helped a lot. I think it really depends on your interests, you know. So for me, I'm a business guy, so I love things on execution. Anything by Jim Collins is great. You know, good to great.
Yes.
All these fabulous. But of course, you know, the companies he put up from good to great, a lot of them were not
not around anymore.
May not be around anymore.
Yeah. That's why he came out with a follow-up.
Exactly.
I can't remember
how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, and also how to stay great, something like that. Yeah.
How the mighty have fallen. So I read through a lot of his books, you know, of what the companies did at a specific time. Of course, right now is the technological era, you know, and those who didn't move their business models all suffered. Yeah.
Yeah, actually it is true. You know, the so-called capitalistic world that we live in is super competitive, you know. Things change so quickly, especially now with technology being such a great enabler. A lot of businesses, they are at risk, you know, if they don't the longevity of a lot of businesses today, I believe, has been shortened, but there will still be a lot of businesses that will continue to thrive as long as they continue to meet the solutions that the market wants. You know, as long as you're bringing value to the market, you know, there's no reason why you should go out of business. So even at the whether is it at the individual level or at the big company level or MNC level, you still need to bring solutions. And the way to bring the solutions is to go for the small steps, go for the small wins. It's just such, I love it. It's so beautiful how it all comes together. And yeah, I love it. Yeah. Kenneth, I want to be conscious of your time. We are approaching the 1 hour mark now. Let me just quickly see what else. There seems to be many other questions. Thank you so much, Kenneth, for your time with us. I really appreciate it. I'm going to put the link to your book as well as your website. So if you are listening and whether it's in now or in future and you would like to get in touch with Kenneth, so how can they, besides the book, how else can they get in touch with you?
Okay, you can contact, you can just drop me a message at my website, deepimpactonline.com. So I run a company called Deep Impact. Then of course, online.com. Yeah, all together. And just drop me something. I write articles or follow me at LinkedIn as well. Kenneth Kwan, Kwan. Yeah, Kenneth Kwan. So so I try to write every single day on something.
Wow, every single day.
At least a short passage, but it's tough. It's tough. Not I don't succeed every day, but so that small step turned out to be quite a big step.
Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, I'll be sure to put a link to those comments, to those in the comments page. So hey, thank you so much, Kenneth. Can I pray? I'd like to bless whoever has been watching, and thank you so much for watching. So Heavenly Father, we thank you. We want to bless Kenneth. I pray that you bless his business abundantly, even as he takes this solutions-focused approach, small steps and small wins to many more people and individuals, so that they can not just to win for the sake of winning, but so that they can bring glory to your name. And I want to bless everyone who's watching the video right now or in the future. I want to bless their lives, their businesses, their investments, whatever they undertake, so that they too can become a blessing and they too can be a Boaz to the people around them, to bring encouragement, to bring helps. So thank you for sessions like this that we can encourage and learn from each other. And we want to just be thankful for you, for what you've done in our lives. So thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you so much, Kenneth. And thanks everyone for watching. And I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that. It was so fun talking to you and going through all the examples. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you so much, Kenneth.
Thank you very much for having me here, Joshua.
Yeah,
for you to be awesome.
All right. I love that. Yeah, you like to use that phrase. Okay, blessings everyone. We're going to sign off now. And we love you. Bye.